Today we're going to Fairy Lake right here. It is on the north side of Sacagawea and Nyanuki, part of the Bridger Mountain Range. It's about 25 miles from here. We're going to take the 86 all the way up to the Battle Ridge trailhead right here. And then we are going to take this trail all the way up to Fairy Lake. So this is the Bridgers right here. These are the famous peaks that you can see from Bozeman. You can also see them from the north. And this is the Alpine Lake here. If you'd like, you can also take four-wheel drive up here and go to the campground. So you don't necessarily need an ATV or a dirt bike to get up here. But you can take this trail up the backside. Really beautiful trail. It's kind of easy. This lake is really beautiful. It's good for a hot day like this. There's probably campers and fishermen and people swimming up there. So because it's going to be easy, we're going to take one of the 250s, the CRFs. They're all gassed up and ready to go. We don't really need to take the 350 or the 300 because the trail's not that hard. Alright, taking the 250. In case you want to know, this is a 2024. It's probably got 5 miles on it. Pretty fun. I guess the 250 is going away for next year, according to the rumors. And they're bringing out a 300F, which I think is going to be kind of fun. You know, I'm hoping Honda brings out another two-stroke. Because, man, the CR250s, the 500s, the 125s, even the 80s were really fun bikes, you know, back in the day. All right, here's the trailhead. Bicycles, snowmobiles. Apparently there's goats somewhere. Battle Ridge Trailhead, Custer Gallatin National Forest, Montana. All right, and of course, dirt bikes and quads. Wheel vehicles that are less than 50 inches. That's what these things are supposed to be for. Keep people out. I see animals up here every time I come up here. A lot of time it's just deer and elk, big herds of elk. But there's also cattle in this area. So we probably won't see anything today because it's 1 o'clock and it's hot. So if I was an animal, I'd be hiding in the shade or down by the water. But we might see a cow. Very rare. So here's a great view of the backside of the Bridgers. I mean, I say the backside, but I guess the north side of the Bridgers. You can see right there is Bridger Bowl. That's the ski area. You can see the chutes, some of the big open areas. I think there's a small lodge up there with really good local beer. Just an FYI, Bridger Bowl. Quad. Maybe a farmer. I didn't get a good look at him. Kind of hauling ass. That's why on these roads you stay to the inside. Of course, that might have been the guy from the parking lot with the Toyota. Hikers. Not sure, but I think that was David Attenborough. The Montana version of David Attenborough. So we're definitely not going to see any animals because there's a lot of people up here already. I've seen 3 people. But this is a fairly well-known track. Fairy Lake is a fairly well-known tourist destination. So everybody can come up here and say, I went to a mountain Alpine lake and hiked. Apparently so. Ooh. It's too big for this bike. So this is one of the areas that has not burned. So this is, you can see the natural habitat. So flowers, deer grass, pine trees. Again, this isn't a scratch and sniff video, so you can't smell them, but imagine a pine tree in your living room at Christmas. This is a pretty good beginner trail. along the lines of Olson Creek. It's a dual track, obviously. It's pretty flat. Not a lot of rocks. The cliff is 10, 15 feet away, so it's not really a worry about falling off. So I'd say this is a beginner trail. And right after I said that, there's a rocky downhill. Okay, so maybe intermediate. And I know it goes up through the forest here pretty soon. There's a deadfall that's usually cleared, but some days it isn't. Right after a big storm, you'll run into the deadfall and there'll be, branches about the size of your arm, which is okay, unless there's 50 of them in a row. And then it starts getting hard. A little bit rocky. Super beautiful to look at this area. If I was a bear, this is where I'd live. And up on the pegs, uphill and rocky. It's a little spicier than Olson Creek, but it's still 250. I don't have to take the 300 or the 350 even. So more towards the fall. I came through here by myself, and there was a huge herd of elk in this field coming up on it. And by huge, I mean relatively huge, 20. Not the 300 or 400 you see up towards Yellowstone. Super fun trail ride. Okay. See if I can quiet down and see if there's any elk out there. Okay, remember what I told you about the deadfall? Just kind of the remnants of it. And a huge storm in here. It looks like we had a little bit of fire. Knocked down a ton of these trees right on the trailhead. Made it a little bit tricky to get up here. Oh, there you go. There's some locals for you. Those are pheasant, I believe. So that's a female pheasant right there, and then a couple of babies. All right, I'll leave her alone. If that isn't a pheasant, comment down below. I'm not a hunter. They were laying there in the shade on the trail, and that's what you get for having a quiet bike and driving slow, is you get to see the animals. But it's also fun to rip through here. A 2-stroke 300 as well. Got here. Upper Bracket Creek, and to the right is Fairy Lake. So this is a nice little single track that goes that way, but we're going that way. Check out that dead tree. That thing's awesome. Giving me poltergeist vibes. Alright, we're getting up on the mountain now. It's getting a little steeper, definitely rockier. It's July, so everything is blooming. There's a hummingbird right there. What's up, bro? No big animals yet. Okay, here we go. A little bit spicier. Alright, did not see this coming. Built with rocks. Oh. Built with roots and rocks. Alright, am might have to upgrade my rating on this trail, or at least this section. But I'm also on a little bike, so, or rather an intermediate bike. I guess a little bike would be a 125 or a 110. Nice river crossing. Sorry, creek crossing. All right, so 2 schools of thought. Theory 1, you do like the YouTubers do and wheelie through it, which I often fall down when I try that because you can't see the big stuff underneath you. But I guess if the front end's in the air, it doesn't matter. Or you go through slow. So obviously I can see the bottom here. I go through this one slow. So comment below, tell me which way you handle creek crossings. You wheelie through as fast as you can, or do you crawl through, get your feet wet? This is kind of nice. So a little bit chunky in here. Starting to breathe a bit, so when I get back to the house, I'll check what the elevation is. And you can hear the bike working. Ah! Switch back. In case you're wondering, I'm definitely up on the pegs here. Move my weight back and forth depending on what the bike wants to do. I'm letting the bike move around under me. So this is the payoff right here. Look at this field. Giant meadow under the mountain. Pine trees. Absolutely gorgeous. If I had a drone, I would fly it here, but I crashed it in Orchid Gulch into a tree, and the camera hasn't come on since, so stay tuned. Imagine yourself right now flying over this with a drone. That's the best I can do, guys. All right, here we go. I've definitely seen some elk in here before, but I don't see any indications on the trail at all. Might be the wrong time of year. It is middle of July. Might get lucky. I'm going to stop here for a water break. Because why wouldn't you? Stay hydrated. Alright, it's getting a little tougher. So a nice rocky left hand uphill. Fun little track there. Oop. Okay, it's starting to flatten out. So we've got to be getting pretty close to the lake. So as I said before, when I introduced this trail, there's another trail off to the right that you can also ride your trail bike on, but you can also hike on it. So most of the hikers up here are going to be on that trail that goes from the lake to the first parking lot. And to get to the first parking lot, you need a four-wheel drive or a Subaru. Also with four-wheel drive, something with a little bit of clearance. And then from the first parking lot, you can continue to the second parking lot, which is right on the lake. Four-wheel drives get up there with their trailers sometimes. It's not too difficult. And then this, of course, is the ORV trail that connects to the lake as well. So a lot of beginners grab the front brake right here and you're going to fall. It's going to fold your front wheel. So again, downhill technique, leave it in the comments. First gear neutral is what I do. I'd like to hear what other people do. Don't grab the front brake. Whoa. Ah. Pay attention maybe. This is zestier than I remember. see what they've changed here. So Fairy Lake 501, and then Fairy Creek is the one that we've been on. Okay, so this area here is closed to me. No wheeled motorized cross-country travel year long, and that's a new sign. Back in the day, you could ride your bike in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull in and park in the trees and respect the trail. So where we started, we rode all the way up Fairy Creek Trail, which is a number 500, and then we crossed the fork. Fork goes down to the first parking lot, second parking lot, and that is Fairy Lake. This is a mountain alpine lake. It's full of snowmelt. That is Sacagawea, and that is Pomp Peak. Sacagawea can be reached by a hiking trail. It goes up on that ridge right there. The water's actually not that cold, at least right here. It might be deeper, but you can see there's a rope swing over there where people are swimming. That guy's getting out. And then, of course, there's campsites, picnic tables, and you can drive up. People out here with boats and paddle boards. Fairy Lake, Montana. Since I parked on Battle Creek, I'm going to have to go back that way. Ordinarily, I would park down in the first parking lot for Fairy Lake and then either ride or hike to this point. It's a really nice hike. So now I'm just going to have to take the trail in reverse. Quick PSA, that is a biting fly. So if you're going to camp or hike and you're wearing shorts, bring bug spray because these things bite. And if you look around, they're all over the place. I'm pretty armored up, so they're not getting me, but look at him. He's trying. Biting flies. Bozeman, Montana. Boop. I'm sure he'll be fine. All right. Hope I got that on camera. Okay, that hill was definitely more fun going up than it was going down. All right, back to my chill spot. So this is definitely top 10 in terms of beauty when it comes to a trail. Look at this. I don't think you could ask for anything else. Nice dual track, there's nobody here. It's cooler up here because we're pretty high up, and it's huge meadows. Pine trees. This is a great ride. So, for those of you that are also living in the mountains, from the mountains, you can tell when there's a storm coming because you can see the wind. So, the wind's starting to pick up, and it is coming out of the southeast. And sure enough, there's a row of thunderheads coming out of the southeast with the wind. It doesn't mean it's going to rain, but it also doesn't mean it's not going to rain. So it's a little bit early, but usually around 3:30 or 4 we'll get a windstorm and clouds coming through as the temperature changes, as it gets really hot. There's a dark area under those clouds. Might be rain. Either way, we're headed back to the truck. Okay, we're back at the Battle Creek trailhead. Today was a pretty easy ride. A little spicy towards the last half up the hill with the rocks. But once you get up there, you know, it's all hikers and people picnicking. So not too brutal. Definitely fun, beautiful lake. There's 3 ways in here. This, of course, is the Battle Creek trailhead, which most of the ATVs and dirt bikes take because it's got a nice big parking lot where you can, you know, park your truck and trailer. Hope you enjoyed the Alpine Lake, Ferry Lake. Remember to respect the trails and get up and ride.